Stephen, can you have your rhythm players come on up and start getting ready? Aaron, right here is your chord. A couple of days ago, Mark called me, or we were talking or something, and he said, you know, the Westgate people do a whole lot different, they use their people much differently than the North Shore Bothell people do. And there's nothing at all wrong with how you use people, but sometimes it's good to know different ways of using people. Amen? Amen? Yeah, there we go. All right. There we go. So we thought we'd talk to... Kevin, you want to come up too? Okay, fine. Mark, come up. Stephen, can you come up? Let me introduce Stephen to you. People, this is the new music pastor at Westgate Chapel, new and improved. A wonderful guy. Stephen Gregory. Did Mark do a great job? Mark, you kind of instigated this. So you want to say, why don't you tell us about the way that your church, your church as in you, use your music people?
Sure. I guess the idea was a little bit different, Doug, but that's okay. I guess what I was thinking is, while Stephen's group was getting themselves put together, if there was any changes, if anybody had, from the audience, if you had any questions for folks like Stephen and myself as far as how we do things. I know you haven't heard his worship set yet, so it's not exactly within context. You might have some questions that you come here and watched and seen and said, gee, what about this? How about that? How do you deal with X, Y, or Z? Real briefly, you want me to just stay on what you asked me for?
I'm not sure people understand what we're talking about.
Okay, then I'll just answer your question.
Yes. There's two real different ways that the Westgate people and the North Shore people use their basic rhythm section in particular. Westgate Chapel has this group of people right here that are on the stage almost every week, unless they have a sub or they're on vacation or something. Yet at North Shore Baptist, there are different people in the rhythm section and on the stage every week except Mark. Mark is the common denominator. So that's kind of what we're talking about, right?
Right.
And I'm here with you.
Stephen hasn't said anything yet, and I put my foot in my mouth already. I guess the thing I was thinking of is that it's neat to see how God can use both models. It's not an either or, it's a both and. For North Shore, it fits real well to be able to have multiple worship teams. I'm sure that Stephen will be able to testify that the learning curve isn't quite as high when you're dealing with more and more people, and we practice once every 3 weeks. We play, we sing once every 3 weeks on the rotation. Things can slide a little bit or whatever. If you're doing it every week, just like anything else, the learning curve will be a little bit higher. But it's been one of the things that we've done purposefully, and I'm sure that Steve would say the same thing for Westgate. It's a reflection of what the church philosophy is, and it's not necessarily this way or that way, but that both models can work and be effective in leading people in worship and furthering worship as a whole of the church. I guess that's what I was thinking of. I see a lot of smiling faces, some sympathetic maybe. Did anybody have any questions on that? How about if I throw it back up to you? Being the gracious host that I am. I'll have to do the dishes. Good.
Yeah, okay. I basically don't rotate my musicians because my boss won't let me.
See, it's a philosophy.
That's not true. So I think probably for me, somewhere in high school when I was playing basketball, on the team, there's something happened in what? Relationship. We got a certain rhythm. We started to learn how to think alike. So really, it's not so much probably a Westgate thing as it probably is a Steve Gregory thing about how we work together as a relationship. Levels of musicianship, obviously, you'll have gifted players, moderate, less gifted. But there's something to be said about just working through and knowing one another that has always been very positive because sometimes in church arenas, you don't always have the more gifted. You have sometimes the moderate or the less gifted. So if you learn how to work with those people, there's a big plus in it. So what we've kind of done at Westgate is to what? Fill a need. And so for the choir and the orchestra, we've kind of got a certain group of guys that just, there's a lot of relationship there. And then for like the youth department, there's a certain group of guys that kind of work together, their styles. So that's kind of what the philosophy has been. I think, again, it's relevant to the church and to probably more than that, leader, how they ought to work. The downside to that is once you build that relationship, if like Martin, the bass player, he got hit by a bus, and you got all that thing of like redoing, raising those folks back up and building that relationship again. So there's pros and cons.
But he's got lots of relationships to help put it back together. Just good.
So that's really what that's all about. Any questions? I couldn't answer anything from the bus category on, but before that, if there's any questions, I can answer. I think it's pretty well self-explanatory. It's great to be here. Are we doing something now? Oh, there's a question back here. Yes. Sometimes they fill in for it, yes, sometimes miss. Again, it's based on the kind of rotation. It's like a few weeks ago I took off to Houston, and Lord has blessed us with a number of directors and piano players as well. So they were able to fill in, and you wouldn't miss me. I mean, God has raised up a number of folks there and are able to do that. So it has changed the way we fill in words like that. I personally though, there's a certain, I don't know if it makes sense, but there's certain something, it's just like you feel comfortable when you go. This guy you know on the bass, this guy you know on the drums, this guy on percussion. You have that certain something where you can communicate. I think for Westgate, our priority has probably not been the level of musicianship as much as the level of really reaching God's presence, which sometimes causes us to be what? Not so much on the page or in the box, but rather a little bit impromptu, going with that. And boy, that's the time when you really need somebody that can almost mentally connect with you or spiritually connect with you, that can go with you when those times come. Just want to be sensitive to the Spirit. So, and that you don't have that with me. They just need to come to those. Let me introduce these folks while they're coming up. This is James Bergstrom. Am I doing this right? Oh, okay. Well, you can do that. That's fine.
Check. We are. I went to Westgate Chapel I've been there longer than dirt. We started there. Karen, when did we start with Westgate Chapel? We were going there before we got married, which was mid-70s, something like that. And so these people are, most of them, family to me. It's just that I live on the other side of the lake from them and don't always get a chance to fellowship with them. And really wish I could a lot more. I'm going to start over here. This is my brother here. I didn't know James was going to be here. This is James Bergstrom. As we were getting ready to move from Westgate, this guy was just fresh out of high school, moving piano. He moves pianos. This guy moves piano, big pianos. I mean, I played on a softball team with him, and I played shortstop, and he would hurt me when he was throwing that ball in it. But he's fun. James has been a good guy. Pleasure, brother. Now drums, Dave Peterson. Dave has been at Westgate since before dirt, right? Started in the nursery there. Wow. And not only that, he brought his beautiful wife Jill, who is right here with the red microphone. Something on that. And Martin, I quit playing music for a few years and went into business and had a terrible time. I did a good job. We made money, but there was something missing. And that was a gift, you know. Pastor Stephen talked just briefly about There's those that are gifted, and those that are not so gifted. Well, there's also those that practice. Amen? There are people that are gifted that don't play nearly as well as those that are practiced. So if you want to be a good musician, I strongly urge you to spend some time with that instrument or that voice every day. Almost every one of the guys up here on the stage do. Martin, when I came back and started working again with Westgate, Martin was our bass player. And he's been there ever since. He's a wonderful asset and a phenomenal bass player. Brother Eric, I called up and asked Steve Grant, which you met, and Eric to join us. Since they were going to be here, why not come over and practice 3 or 4 times? We'll just hang out for a while. But they decided, well, we'll practice Thursday night with you. One time. That's all we need. And Eric is a wonderful friend. Eric Popowitz has actually moved to the side of the lake and still goes to Westgate Chapel. I did that for a while. But, I'm not as tough as you. They feed you. They feed you. And Aaron was there when I was playing guitar there, but I didn't know Aaron. And Aaron, it's really neat to see you jump right in there and fill the seat and do a wonderful job. And I hear great reports about what you're doing. Thank you, brother. And there's one lady over here next to the end that was, where she is, Stacy. Stacy was, Stacy's dad I did a record album with a number of years ago, and got to know Leighton really well. And if you're ever in need of a tenor that has no upper boundaries, her dad can do it. But Stacy, I think we're going to get a chance to hear her sing. She has definitely taken over where her dad left off. Does a great job. Started with just a little outfit, singing in church. Good to see you grow up. Stacy and Stephen are married. And then the lady next to her, what was 1983? When did you guys come here?
9 years ago.
Man. Well, it was certainly a pleasure to see you folks come. You also, along with this gentleman out here, Pastor Alec Rowland, reviewed what she did with you. And this is Rita Rowland. Rita, thank you. And I don't know your name. Jana. And Jana, you belong with this gentleman here at the piano, don't you? I just met Jana this evening, and I'm loving this vocal section here. Wait till you hear him. I met you backstage, and one time I met what's your name? Chris. Chris, I understand, is a power vocal. This guy can sing. But we're probably spending a lot of time at this, but folks, this is an extended family. And I appreciate you. I'm going to give it to you, brother.